Hi everybody, my name is Amanda Batista, I'm Managing Editor of Demand Gen Report. Today I'm joined by a very special guest via Skype. Tim Riesterer is the Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer at Corporate Visions, which is a marketing and sales messaging firm. Tim, thanks so much for joining us today.
Amanda, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're going to talk about content marketing, which is obviously a really hot topic. And Tim, I'm interested in the sales component of this, right? So the last time you and I talked, we talked a lot about the importance of content in marketing, and the industry knows that. But when it comes to sales and sales enablement, what do marketing organizations and sales organizations really need to know about how to use content to enable sales?
So there are many sales, I'll call them messaging moments of truth, where there's a ton of content being delivered by the sales force. And as a result, that content is either created by marketing and those who want to have some control over the message, or it's fabricated by the field. When they need something, they make something. So there's an opportunity for content. The question is, who's going to own that and who's going to drive that? And it's not that marketers haven't in the past said, hey, I'm going to build content for the field. What we've discovered is that through research, about 90% of what marketing creates for the field goes unused. So there's a big need for content, but there's clearly a big breakdown in terms of the content being created to support salespeople.
Excellent. And if we go back to marketing, when it comes to marketing's role in content creation, how do they really think about creating content that can enable their sales reps to do their job more effectively? And, conversely, how does that sales and marketing alignment equation work? Obviously, that's very important for every company, but how does content play a role in that sales and marketing alignment?
Well, there's really three reasons that salespeople don't use the content that marketing creates. And marketing has to be aware of this, and then they have to address those three reasons. And the first reason is the content doesn't sound like the salespeople's conversations sound like. It sounds like 30,000-foot brand and product-oriented feature benefit messaging. And customer selling conversations are very different in that they start with the customer story that they're living in, the needs, issues, challenges, risks, threats that customers are dealing with, and leads to your story instead of leading with your story. So it doesn't sound like the conversation salespeople are having, and marketing has to invert that story. The second thing is the messaging is not put into formats or tools that are relevant to the task at hand. Salespeople have certain tasks. They're known tasks. They repeat themselves a lot. A lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of presentations, and a lot of attachments, a lot of face-to-face meetings. And those environments require a certain kind of content, but they also require them to be available in a certain format that matches the task at hand. So creating messages and tools that sound cool and look great in a marketing checklist, but don't align to the actual task that salespeople perform is a big miss. And marketers have to do a better job of understanding those moments of truth and the kind of content and messaging needed. And then finally, the medium. The environment the salesperson does this in means that certain things are more useful than other things. And what happens is the voice of the sales cycle and the content used is more often Microsoft Office than it is Quark Express or Flash. So marketing has to be really good in some of these rudimentary communication tools because they're the most often used by the sales force.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a really good point. And taking it a step further, platforms are a really critical component when you're talking about how you deliver your content. So what are some of the most innovative content mediums, and why do you think so?
So that's very interesting, right? So you can get your content right. It can be really provocative messaging and in the right format, but if it's not accessible, if it's not available when and where and how salespeople need it, whether they're remote and or mobile, you're out of luck. So it has to be available. And so we see platforms out there. Probably the top platform we've been working with clients that we see is Savo. It's a content management type platform that provides access to sales tools in a purpose-built selling environment or portal environment, and it plugs into your marketing automation and sales automation. So it creates this nice bridge to serve up your content and then allow salespeople to access it the way they work and the way your sales process works. We also do a lot of work with Brainshark because what we've been seeing is more and more the communications that people prefer to receive when they're getting coached on content is video, and even the communications they prefer to distribute is video versus static content. The dynamic versus static content thing, when you're trying to break through, is really hot right now. And the Brainshark cost-effective video platform that works on all these mobile devices really seems to be hot and works hand in hand with the Savo portal technology. So we're involved in creating content for both of those, and we see those being used by a lot of our clients.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. Those are, really cool platforms for delivery. Tell us a little bit about the work that Corporate Visions is doing with its clients and a little bit about your strategic partnerships with some of these platforms.
Well, so the one thing about platforms is, and people know this, right? If your content really stinks, these platforms, the technology will automate it and just make it stinkier. I mean, more people can see it, more people can smell it, and they realize that's not quite right. So as good as these technologies are, the content that goes in is what's really important. And that's really what Corporate Visions is doing, is figuring out how to help companies not just put more content in the hands of salespeople, but how to actually make their salespeople just a little bit more engaging. How to equip your salespeople with a distinct point of view that when they go in to have a conversation with the customer is grateful they're there to have the conversation. The days of equipping your salespeople with lists of 20 questions they should ask is over. The days of equipping them with a distinct point of view, where they lead with some interesting insight and then maybe earn the right to ask some questions, is really what's happening now. Customers are telling us in our research that they don't want to play the 20-question game. They want you to tell them something they don't already know about a problem they didn't even know they had. And that way you'll earn the right to ask more questions. And the point being, the customers are saying is, you see more people who look like me than I do, so you should know something. And you should already know what I'm dealing with because you're seeing hundreds of thousands of people day in and day out that look like me, and I'm just here focused on what I'm trying to get done. Bring me something. Act like you know something because you should. And that's kind of the demand now. And companies are struggling to package that because they know too much. And so we go in and help them find that distinct point of view and then turn that into executive level, early stage pitches and videos and presentations and collaterals that drive that distinct point of view into the marketplace.
Excellent, Tim. Those are all great points. We really do spend a lot of time talking about what content can do for the marketing team, and I think it's really great to explore what we can utilize content for from a sales perspective and to really align it with that customer, all their needs, and like you said, their wants, and kind of wanting to have that more interactive discussion. So thank you, Tim, for making the time to share more about Corporate Visions with us, and we'll look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thanks, Amanda. Appreciate it.